Do you ever hear voices in the wind? Noises behind unopened doors? Closing your eyes might help for others, but for you, there's always the After Dark podcast. Welcome back, guys, to the After Dark podcast. And would you look at that? We are on time right now. We're definitely on time. Hold up. Give me 1 second. Let me put the welcome mat. Oh, I'm not saying up. I made a mistake. Can I erase my comments, please? Yes, I can. Great. Thank you. Okay, hold up. To the After Dark. What? I'm not writing anything. Okay. To the After Dark podcast season 2. Oh, there it is. That is a lot better. But anyways, guys, like I was saying, welcome back to the After Dark podcast, episode 7 or 22 if you're counting from season 1. It should be 22 actually right now, but who is really, you know what it is. Anyways, yes, episode 7. Oh man, it just feels like a dream. You know what I'm talking about? It just feels like a dream. It come to reality, and it's a big part of this is actually a dream. It came to me one night when I was awake though. But anyways, I am getting I'm getting off topic here. So, you know what? I was thinking when I was reading, I wasn't reading, but I was like, I was just sitting down, right? And I was like, maybe I should do some campfire stories, some campfire stories, horror stories, that is, of course, because we have the campfire in the back, we have the crickets in the back, so we might as well just do it, just like Nike would tell us to do. So, but that's exactly what we're gonna do. But yesterday, we were reading a whole bunch of scary stories told in the dark by Schwartz. I forgot his first name. I do apologize. That one, two. I do want to point out that the gift that you're seeing here, it's not mine. I don't own it. I just borrowed it from Google, and all credit goes to the person who made it. So, thank you, whoever you are. If you see your gift in the podcast, tell me. I will give you full disclosure, right, or full credit in the description below. So. This is a weird site. I started early today. I started at 9, and at actual 9, which is kind of weird for me. But we keep going. We keep going. Let me see. Today we played some Overwatch Mondays. I don't know. It didn't go as well as I planned it to be. Like when I'm playing offline, like when I'm playing off stream, like everything goes smoothly. It could be like it's like a smooth ride. I'm talking about like no waves in the ocean, just smooth sailing. But every time I'm live, it's like, oh, okay, he's playing, he's doing a live stream. Let's shut him down, and everything just goes downhill very fast, faster than I can say oops. That one scene from Spy Kids 3D when the guy shows up, and I go like, oh, it's like your life will drain faster than you can say oops. And then like he opens the door, he goes in and he goes like cake, and he just gets zapped. Like he goes from 100 to 0 like in less than 5 seconds, and like at the end he goes like oops. Anyways, that was a good one. Okay, so this article It's from the website called thebustle.com, and it's called the title of this article is called 10 Spooky Campfire Stories to Tell Your Friends in the Dark. And hey, like we said, you guys are all my friends, all my best friends. So, if you grew up in America and ever went to summer camp, which I haven't, or had an older sibling, which I don't, or a particular macabre set of school bus friends, you've probably heard some of these spooky campfire stories before. In fact, you probably still wake up in a cold sweat most nights, thinking you can hear the distant scraping of a hook against a car door. And even if you had a pleasant childhood and therefore never heard of these gruesome stories, grab your acoustic guitars and some s'mores, because here are 10 terrifying campfire stories that all freaks us out. So, I never went to camp, so this, this is pretty good, right? This is like as close to going to camp as we can get. The only thing that I forgot or I neglect to put in this audio that you're hearing, is like distant coyotes howling, coyotes or wolves howling, which that would have been perfect. Like every now and then, like you'll hear the wolf howling. Oh, that'd be good. That would have been so good. But Alvin Schwartz, there we go. Even if you're pretend to we're not gonna read this little section. But yes, this article is brought to us by Charlotte Alden, I think, and it was published on October 28th, 2016. And the first story is pretty much everybody is familiar with. And I think I've read this one too, but we're gonna reread it. So it's called The Hook. By the way, these are like really short stories, so we'll get warmed up with these. A pair of attractive teens are parked at Makeout Point or Lover's Lane, depending on your version of the story. An isolated spot on the edge of town. Boyfriend switches on the radio for some good music, and the two start cannondling. But just as things were getting hot and heavy, they're interrupted by a breaking news story. A crazed murderer has escaped from the nearby state asylum. He's armed and dangerous, and he has a hook in the place of his right hand. Girlfriend's frightened and wants to go home straight away, but boyfriend insists that they'll be fine. He locks all the car doors and tries to kiss her again. Girlfriend calmly explains that no means no, and that she wants to go the hell home. Brian annoyed. Boyfriend slam. Wait, Brian? Oh. So, I guess the boyfriend's called Brian. So, Brian annoyed. Boyfriend slams the gas pedals and drives back to the house. It's only when they both get out of the car that they notice something dangling from the door handle. A bloody steel hook. By the way, I got my tea here. If I could ring this without spilling anything, that would be perfect. Very good tea, very good tea. But this is in my opinion, this is like a rushed story or a rushed version of The Hook. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, but it's it's all right. It's all right. So The Hook. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. If you guys heard it, I do apologize. But The Hook pretty much just, in other words, grab a room. Grab a room, because if you're trying to do your thing out in the woods, things are not gonna go so well for you and your mate. So we move on to another one called Bloody Mary, which everybody should be familiarized with. Everybody should be accustomed, I guess you can say, because who doesn't know of Bloody Mary, right? Like, you'd say her name 3 times, or how did it go back then? It was like you spin 3 times, and then you like cut the lights, but like put the candle on. You spin 3 times, and then you say her name 3 times or something like that. I don't know, but here we go. This one might be slightly more popular at sleepovers than campfires, but I bet that's still just a little scared to actually try it. The story goes that if you look into a mirror in a dark room and chant Bloody Mary 3 times, you'll see the ghostly visage of Bloody Mary herself staring back at you. That, or she'll pop out of the mirror and kill you. The real Bloody Mary was actually Queen Elizabeth's ill-fated older sister, and she's probably not coming to kill you, but staring into a darkened mirror for a prolonged period of time can cause very creepy hallucinations. And yes, we were talking about back in season 1 that our minds are just so powerful, to the point where if we imagine something and we focus on it, it'll come true, even though nobody else can see it, right? So here's a little backstory of Queen Elizabeth's sister, right? So this is another website. It's called Anita'sNotebook.com. My bad. Okay. So while holding a lit candle, go into a room that has a mirror and gets pitch dark. Okay, that's kind of weird. Then, turning out the light, spin around 3 times in front of the mirror while slowly chanting her name, Bloody Mary. Then, look into the mirror and you'll see a pale face and glowing eyes of Bloody Mary staring back at you. Back when I was a kid, that's what 2 friends dared me to do when we were bored one summer afternoon. It was too hot to go out and to do something, and we had restored to a truth or dare kind of game to pass the time. I'd never heard of the Bloody Mary game before and was intrigued but a little creeped out. Would Bloody Mary really appear in the mirror? If I did all that stuff? Okay, I'll do it, I said, after giving a little bit of thought. So I took a candle and headed towards the only room in that house that could get pitch black, the bathroom. To my surprise, none of the 2 girls that had dared me to play the Bloody Mary game was now saying no, don't, and tried to stop me from going. The other girl just kind of hung back and was quiet. She too was scared, but didn't want to say anything. They didn't think I would actually do it when they dared me, or maybe it was just didn't hit them that what could actually happen until I had accepted there. Well, one thing was for sure, I couldn't back out now. I went to the bathroom and closed the door behind me, making sure not to accidentally put out the candle as I set it into the sink. I could hear the girls loudly scrambling back to the bedroom, and then it was dead quiet. Well, they really were scared, but maybe they had good reason to be. I did as instructed and turned around 3 times while chanting the words Bloody Mary. After the 3rd turn, I cautiously looked in the mirror. Would there be some spin-induced optical illusion that would catch my eye and scare the crap out of me? Or the face of Bloody Mary? Or worse, the face of Bloody Mary hovering right behind me and looking over my shoulder? And there was nothing. Just the flickering of the candle showing everything that was supposed to be in the bathroom, and not a single thing or person more. My friends weren't disappointed as much as relieved that nothing had happened, and quickly moved on to another subject to occupy our afternoon. They never brought it up anything like Bloody Mary again. The fact remains, though, that some people do say they see strange things, and even Bloody Mary herself, when they play the game. There are many different rituals on how to conjure her in the mirror, often including doing things like whispering, "I stole your baby, Bloody Mary," 3 times, or, for the truly brave out there, firmly locking the door before starting the chant. But who is Bloody Mary anyways? And does she really exist? And what is the story behind the freaky chant about the baby? I looked it up, and there were various theories as to who the woman behind the Bloody Mary legend is. But many believe her to be a woman named Mary Tudor. Mary Tudor is confirmed to have actually existed, and I'm not surprised that she is believed to be the origins of Bloody Mary legend, as her life was often soaked in blood. Wow. Okay, hold up. Okay, no. I thought this article was going to be long, but it's not. So, let's continue it. I am actually intrigued. Mary Tudor was the daughter of the notorious King Henry the Eighth. 5, 6, 7, yeah. Eighth. I'm sorry I had to count. My Roman numerals are rusty. Who is famous to putting his wife in death whenever he grew tired of them. Mary was the daughter of the first wife, and so ended up seeing an awful lot of carnage over the years as King Henry VIII put to death not only his wife, but a great many of the people around him. It makes things worse. For years, she was disowned by her father and made to do things like serve in the household of her younger half-sister, as a reminder of her new status as an illegitimate child. She grew up in a looming shadow of her unappreciable father. He was the most powerful man in England and could make her life miserable or put it in danger at any moment. When Mary Tudor became a queen of England at the age of 37, she finally had a chance to do things her way. But unfortunately, her way turned out to be like burning the people at the stake because they refused to follow the same religion as her. Some large portion of the population started to detest her and her unyielding ways, leading to riots and rebellions around the country, and eventually a new name for her was born, Bloody Mary. And then there was a problem of the baby, or what was supposed to be a baby anyways. It was really important that Mary had a child so she could have an heir to the throne, and there was a lot of pressure on her to get pregnant. So you can imagine how overjoyed she was when she suddenly stopped having her period, gained weight, and got sick in the mornings, like most women who are pregnant. As time went on, her belly grew, and 9 months later, the entire country prepared for the new heir to the throne to be born, except nothing happened. After day after day went by, and Mary did not have a baby, yet she still had all the signs of being pregnant. Rumors flew around England first that she had actually delivered a son, and then later that she wasn't actually pregnant at all. Eventually, after several months of this crazy situation, Mary's stomach shrank and her symptoms disappeared. It turned out that her baby was nothing but a ghost. She was devastated and humiliated later. She had another false pregnancy and died not too long after. After her death, people started to add the story of her life, and these stories contributed to what became the legend of the Bloody Mary. The stories, often told by those who despised her, included outrageous and frightening things like how she bathed in the blood of young girls to try and stay young. Now, let's pause here for a bit because this part is actually true, but not to her. No, not to her. It was, of course, my favorite countess in the world, and of course, famous killer. But that's beside the point. But this is a lie right here. I could tell you this right now. This didn't happen to her. So we'll move on. Some stories portrayed her as a vain woman who was also obsessed with her reflection in the mirror, and that her soul gets trapped in mirrors, meaning she's always looking for a way to get out. So, wow, right? That's a pretty intense life story that she had. Tragic, scary, because it really happened. Personally, if I thought that the ghost of Bloody Mary was lingering inside a mirror, I wouldn't taunt her by saying I stole your baby, Bloody Mary. But that's just me. Maybe you're braver than me. But if you do play the Bloody Mary game and see a new face appear in the mirror, at least now you'll know whose eyes are looking back at you. And run. That was interesting. I mean, everybody knows about Bloody Mary, but seeing that she actually has a name, that is interesting. Very, very interesting. But hey, if you're brave enough to do so, please let me know what happens. first communicate with me if you're gonna do it. Then tell me what happens. Because if you don't follow back, if you don't follow back your message, I'm gonna assume that bad things happen. Okay, we're moving along with another story called The Wolf Girl. As a kid, I knew the story. I knew the story as The Blonde Wolf, which is admittedly not the creepiest of titles, but the story goes that a pregnant woman went to labor in a remote part of Texas. Her husband went to help, but both of their bodies were discovered the next day ravaged by wolves. The baby was nowhere to be found. Over the years, sightings were reported of a little girl living in a pack of wolves, and later a grown woman covered in hair nursing wolf pups. And finally, sightings of strange-looking wolf with suspiciously human-like features. Wow. Okay, hold up, because that's creepy. That is very creepy, because if I were to see a dog with human face, I will not. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll flip it. That's it. Call a priest. Dude, I'll invoke the spirit of what's his name? Van Helsing, and just go to town, because that right there is creepy. Have you guys seen Friday the 13th? A Nightmare on Elm Street, I believe is the second one, where she goes to save her boyfriend at towards the end, and then you see two dogs with human faces. Dude, nope. So much nope in there, man. So I don't know, man, but this is that's weird. But let's read up about it. Let me see, the Texas Wolf Girl. There it is. We're gonna go to another website, and hopefully not found, of course. Wolf Girl of Devil's River, feral child. No, she's in Texas. Damn it. Where is she? The Legend of the Wolf Girl, Houston. I mean, Houston's Texas, right? If my geology is correct. Okay, so apparently the spirit of the Wolf Girl has been reportedly found near the arid canyons of Devil's River. Devil's River State's natural area. If you catch Devil's River's superintendent, my bad, I am just butchering words tonight, Rick Thomas, with some free time during your visit, asking about the Wolf Girl of Devil's River. In 1835, John and Molly Dent were headed west, out of this way from Georgia. Thompson says, when they hit Devil's River, Molly was heavy with a child. Molly, the story continues, went into a difficult labor. During an intense West Texas thunderstorm, John rode on horseback. I can't see the other entry because the ads are crazy in this. Oh, okay, here we go. John rode on horseback to the nearest settlers seeking help. On the way back, he was killed by lightning. Rescuers found Molly dead. Her child had been born and was missing. There were wolf tracks all around, but no baby. It seemed to be another harsh pioneer tragedy. 10 years later, an area lad claimed to see a wild girl with a pack of wolves. The next year, a woman supposedly saw a girl and 2 wolves devouring a goat. A search party captured the girl, but wolves attacked the shack where they camped, and the girl escaped. The next sighting was 7 years later. A wild girl was spotted suckling 2 wolf cubs, but she ran into cover and escaped. What? Since then, there have been reports of her ghost at San Felipe Springs and here on Devil's River, says Thompson, playing his audience. Wow. I mean, at the very least, this version didn't have the whole human-faced dogs, which, boy, no, please, so much, no, please. Oh my God, Wolf Girl. Here's another one that's called "Don't Turn on the Lights." two college roommates are in the same science class, and the big terms is tomorrow morning. Mary wants to stay in and study, but Tara wants to go out and party with the cute guy from the lacrosse team. She leaves Mary to her studies. When she gets home every night, that okay, when she gets home very late that night, Mary is in bed on with the lights off. Tara goes to bed without turning the lights on, trying not to disturb her sturdiest friend. In the morning, she goes to wake Mary so they won't be late for the test. But Mary's body lies stiff in her bed, soaked in blood. Then, on the wall above her, scrawled in blood, are the words, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?" Ugh. That was the last sip of my tea, and I believe I completely butchered that story. But I read this one, and not only that, I have actually seen the story, Urban Legends. I believe that's a movie. I don't know what year it came out, but it's called Urban Legends, and it pretty much has the Hook, Bloody Mary, and this one in it. Basically, what happens is that, like, her friend, okay, in the movie, okay, her friend isn't the studying type. It's more of a gothic party chick, right? So, like, she brings dudes every night, just to have fun. And her studious friend, comes in and pretty much turns on the lights by accident. She gets mad. She's like, "Hey, I told you not to turn on the lights," or whatever. So that happens. So that keeps happening, right, for a while. So the studious girl pretty much gets used to it, right? So she comes in the room, doesn't turn on the lights, and goes to bed. So one night, the girl, the goth party girl, all of a sudden, meets somebody online, and supposedly, they're gonna have a good time. But all of a sudden, she gets like pushed back to her bed, and dude's trying to strangle her or something. I can't remember the movie, and then like her studious friend comes in, and like the other girl has her face muffled, and the studious girl goes like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm not gonna turn on the lights." So of course she didn't turn on the lights. She looked away, put the earphones on, goes to bed. Next day, they found her dead with that message: "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?" Because and yeah, I mean, a moral of the story is be careful. Be careful with who or what you guys bring into your houses. So. Whew. Next story is called The Keyhole. A man is staying in a hotel for the weekend. On his way to his room, he notices a closed door with no numbers on it. Then he asks about it. He is told that no one is allowed in that room. Curious, he stops to peep in the keyhole on the next night, and sees a normal hotel room with a very pale woman laying in bed. He goes on his way, but the next night he's just too curious and looks through the keyhole again. This time, all he can see is red, just red. He goes to ask the woman in front of the desk about the room again, and she finally tells him the truth. A woman was murdered in that room years ago, an albino woman with white skin and red eyes. Okay, I read this one too, but the other one had more detail. I mean, I still don't get it, because in the other one it says, like, apparently the guy that looked through the keyhole is like somebody, like, the same people that actually murdered the girl, and in this one it doesn't say. So I don't know. We'll move on. This one's about clowns. It's called The Clown's Tattoo. I'm not watching the gift. That's creepy. A babysitter has been hired to watch two children for the night. After she puts the kids to bed, the parents ask that she watches TV in their bedrooms upstairs, because the children have been having nightmares recently. She puts the kids to bed easily enough, and settles in the parents' room to watch TV. But in the corner of her room, there's a large creepy clown statue, about life size. She tries to ignore it, but it's just too creepy. Finally, she calls the dad to ask if she can watch TV downstairs instead. Sure, he says, but why? She tells him that the clown statue is just creeping her out too much. There's a pause. Finally, the husband says, get the children, and leave the house. We don't have a clown statue. Wow. Everybody knows what they have in their house, right? Like, you go in a house, you look around, like, you go inside your own house, and you look around, you go like, okay, yeah, that's there, that's where I left it there, and and that's pretty much how it is every day. So you know what guys have in your house. I know what I have around my house. Even if it's somewhere tucked in a corner where I can't reach, I know it's there because I never touched it ever since. But as soon as you see something out of place, what do you guys do? All of a sudden you see a clown statue in like at the corner of your home. You try to ask your husband or girlfriend or wife or parents, hey, when did you guys buy the clown statue? All of a sudden they say they didn't. Ooh. That's when I start showering that whole house with holy water. We move along, because that's creepy. That's very creepy. To another story called The Hitchhiker. The Vanishing Hitchhiker might be the most famous campfire story of all time. A couple are driving late at night when they notice a girl hitchhiking. They pick her up, and she thanks them profusely and gives them a nearby address. They drive her home, trying to make polite conversations, but after a few minutes, the girl falls silent. The driver asks if they've reached the right intersection, but when they turn to the back seat, the girl's gone. When she's vanished without a trace. When they reach the address she gave them, an elderly couple greets them in the door. They don't know of any girl, but their own daughter was killed in a car accident many years ago, just a few miles up the road. Same story and the same concept about the other times, like the Japanese taxi driver, the red sweater, and in another one it's just like a guy trying to get a date with the girl. Same thing, just be careful who you guys pick up. They could be the nicest person on the outside, but you may not know their intentions. Ooh. Okay, this next one is called Doggy Lick, and if this is the one that I'm thinking of, the version that I know is called Humans Can Lick Too or something like that. I'm not too sure, but this is a creepy one. A girl is just a little afraid of the dark, so every night her dog sleeps under her bed. When she's afraid, she puts her hand down and her dog licks it to reassure her. One night, she wakes up to hear a strange dripping noise. She puts her hand down and feels the dog lick, so she feels better and goes back to sleep. The next morning, she wakes to find the body of her dog hanging in the middle of the room and dripping blood in the wall. Someone has written, "Humans can lick too." The same murderer as the dorm room one. Possibly. I don't know. This one's just too rushed. It feels too rushed. But in the original one, she puts her hand down and then her dog licks her. But and then all of a sudden she she puts I believe she hears a dripping noise, but it's not coming from her room, it's coming from the bathroom. So she thinks it's a leaky faucet. So she puts her hand down again, and then she feels somebody her dog lick her. So and then finally when she gets annoyed of the noise, she wakes up, and I think she turns on the lights or something. I'm not too sure, but I forgot how it goes. But I think she sees a person licking her hands. First of all, it's kind of creepy. And then she goes to the bathroom to see her dog hanging from its own intestines. It's just gruesome, but hey, that's the story. That's the version I know. So we'll continue. And this one's called The Ribbon. A man marries his beloved, a beautiful young woman who always wears a black velvet ribbon around her neck. On their wedding night, he asks why she never takes the ribbon off. If I do, you'll be sorry, she says, and goes to sleep. Night after night, he keeps asking, but she always gives him the same reply. He begins to go mad in curiosity. Finally, one night, while she's sleeping, he steals the scissors from her sewing box and cuts through the ribbon himself. The black ribbon falls away, and her head rolls right off her neck and falls to the floor with a sickening thud. So she was a dull hen. Wow. I mean, it's just like the anime, right? The Monster Musume, I believe it's called. I like that. I was pretty stoked when it came out. But, you know, it's weird, right? Like, if you really like the girl that you're gonna marry, or the woman that you're gonna marry, or the man that you're gonna marry, you know, women too, you know, be truthful. Be like, hey, you know what? If you really love me, you'll love me for who I am or for what I am, right? So, I have this secret, and I'm about to share it with you, and it's gonna blow your mind. I'm actually a Dullahan, you know. And then, you know, the Monster Musume theme song comes up, and we're all happy. But yes, you know, like, what if that would happen all of a sudden, you know? Like, what if you guys were to all of a sudden get the curiosity gets the better of you and does something your wife, or soon-to-be wife, or soon-to-be husband asks you precisely not to do? Like, you know, would you still love him or her, or would it all change? This last one's called The High Beams. A young woman driving home late one night. When she notices a truck driving up directly behind her. Wait. A young woman is driving home late one night when she notices a truck driving up directly behind her. No one else is on the road. She waits for the truck to pass her, but instead it stays directly behind her and flashes the high beams. She becomes unsettled. No matter how fast she drives or which back roads she heads down, the truck stays close behind her, flashing its high beams every few minutes. Terrified, she speeds home with the truck right in her tail and pulls into her driveway. She leaps out of the car and tries to run to the front door, but the truck driver gets out too, and he's holding a gun. He points it in her direction and shoots. The woman screams but the bullet wasn't for her. She turns to see the body of a man fall out of the back seat of her car, clutching a butcher's knife. The shaken truck driver explains that he noticed a man in the back seat of her car and was trying to signal her. Every time the man raised his knife to stab her, he flashed his high beams. People, if you're driving, you know, and, you know, a truck driver all of a sudden signals you from behind, trust me, they're gonna want you to pay attention, right? I mean, it's not only because they're trying to be creepy, they're trying to save your life. So, pay more attention to the road. And you know what? Now that we're talking about driving, oh man, perfect opportunity for me to tell you guys. If you guys are hearing my podcast right now in the car, I do hope that it is off or parked, you know, because nothing infuriates me more than seeing somebody driving with their phones in their hands. Like, I don't care if you have this person on speaker or whatnot. Don't have your phone in your hands, folks, please. Oh God, it just gets me mad, you know. Like, I see somebody, like, it's not somebody, it's practically almost everyone I see in the streets today, you know, whether they're like waiting for the stop sign or in traffic, they have their phones glued to their hands. So people, please, if you're listening to my podcast, put me on speaker and set me to the side. You know, my podcast is up for an hour. It's sometimes like an hour and 10 minutes and around there, you know, because, you know, I like to talk to you guys. And if you guys are in the live stream right now, say hi in the chat, man. Come on. So, but that's beside the point. The point is that don't play with your phones while driving, please. You know, it pisses me off a lot. You know, I mean, last time I saw something that surprised me, right? I saw a cop playing with his phone. Oh, Jesus. Stop that, please. You know, hook me up to the aux cable and hear my beautiful voice in all four corners of your car if you must. If you have somebody right next to you, you know, you trust them, right? Tell them, hey, you know, I want to listen to the After Dark podcast, season 2, episode 7 or 8, you know, or 9 or 10 or whatever, you know. Put it on for me, right? Put it on for me. The aux cable right there in the glove compartment, and just hook it up, and we'll drive. You know, that's the ideal way. So please, just give your phone to that person right next to you, and trust them that they will just go to YouTube and straight to the podcast. Okay? So please, 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 don't text and drive. Don't call on the phone and drive. Don't drink and drive. Don't smoke and drive, because all of them are bad. Just pay attention to the road, please. I want you guys to be safe, you know, and don't want you guys to be hurt. I don't want to be reading urban legends based on you guys, okay? So please just drive. Let me take a sip of my water. And you know what, I just noticed this other section of the same website called 13 Spooky Short Stories by Women you can read right now. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing. So, you guys know, I believe, right? Let me double check. I forgot her name, but she was the one who created Frankenstein's monster. Let me see. Mary Shelley, I believe that was her name, right? And I believe she made this story on the spot too. Let me see. Let's look her up. Mary Shelley. Mary. Okay. Ooh, she has a really weird. Okay. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. First and foremost, that middle name is awesome. All right. She was an English novelist, short story writer, dramatist, essayist, biographer, and travel writer. Best known for her Gothic novel Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus. She also edited and promoted her works, the works of her husband. That's good. That's good. You know, chemistry right there. If both husband and wife can work together. The romantic poet and philosopher Percy Bysshe Shelley. Wow. She was born in August 30, 1797, and unfortunately died February 1st, 1851. So she was born in Somerstown, London, United Kingdom, and she died in Chester Square, London, United Kingdom. And she stayed with one spouse all throughout her life, which is, you know, amazing. You know, I want somebody who can stay with me for the rest of my life, you know? It's just like a quote I read. I don't know who said it. Let me try to look it up. Hold up, give me 1 second. I have no idea. I can't find it. I can't find the quote. I can't find it, but I do believe it goes something like, I want a person who can not only dance with my angels but can also get along with my devils or demons. Yes, that's exactly who I want. But you know, that's besides the point. We're talking about Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, which once again, That's an awesome, awesome middle name. So we know she was a novelist, and yeah, so she pretty much she's the founder of the uh, of the story Frankenstein. So the modern Prometheus in 3 volumes. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she came up with this story on the spot, right? Like if I'm not like she just it clicked on her, which is pretty good. I like it. But yeah, Mary Shelley, very cool woman that pretty much made one of the very best horror, right? So I guess Frankenstein is sort of like a horror-ish novel, which is pretty good. If you guys haven't read it, go on and read it. So we move on to the 13 spooky stories by women that you can read right now. And this was by Charlotte Allen, and this was updated 3 weeks ago, which is, you know, pretty good, pretty cool. The air was cold, and the drugstores are. So wait, is this just like the? Yeah, this is just like the header of the whole thing. So the air was cold, and the drugstores are stocking plastic roads. Spooky season's upon us. I mean, sure, you can read scary stories at any time of the year if you're paying any attention to the news or somewhat unavoidable, but there's something specially satisfying about reading creepy writings during autumn, when the leaves are changing colors and the nights are getting longer and the opportunity to vote more women into office is fast approaching. So if you're looking for a quick spine-tingling read that'll freak you out and stoke the fires of your bottomless rage against the patriarchy, then here are some brilliant spooky short stories written by women. The article, the header goes on by saying, I'm not saying that men are bad at writing scary stories. Men have made many valuable contributions to the genre of horror, which was started by a goth teen girl, in case you forgot. I'm just saying that women live in a nightmare hellscape 24/7. Reading horror is almost a relief. Can you imagine if monsters were that easy to identify and then defeat with just a little bit of elbow grease and holy water? Here are a few terrifying, weird, and all relatable creepy stories from some of the genre's greatest writers. So the first one's called The Demon Lover by Shirley Jackson. Oh, nice. It's just short. Wait. Oh, okay. I think these are just suggestions to read. And you know what? I wouldn't mind reading none of these, some of these. The Demon Lover. Is it true Shirley Jackson's The Demon Lover? Yeah. Wow, this is pretty long. But if you guys are interested in this list, you know, the list is pretty much in the bustle.com, you know. So if you guys just search up spooky stories to tell campfires, you know, and you see the bustle.com, go all the way at the bottom and you'll see the 10 spooky short stories written by women. And the first one, of course, called The Demon Lover by Shirley Jackson. Shirley Jackson is the grand dome of horror, and The Demon Lover is no exception. It begins with a young woman waking up on her wedding day. She's nervous, of course, but as the story goes on, we start to realize that her growing sense of unease isn't just a run-of-the-mill wedding jitters. Her fiancé, Jamie, seems to have disappeared entirely, if he had never existed at all. That's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna bookmark this page right here. The next one is called How to Get Back to the Forest, so by Sophia Samatar. Now I do apologize if I do butcher some of the last names. Please don't get mad at me. Missing parents, bugs trapped deep inside your body, summer camp, how to get back to the forest, is a uniquely disturbing piece of writing that weaves together dystopian fiction, body horror, and good old-fashioned summer camp drama. It's a fast, freaky read that'll stay with you for a long time. How fast is it? Hold up. Let me see. Because if it's like really short, we can read it. We can, oof. Oof. I mean, it's short, but it is a lot to read. Maybe we'll dedicate like one episode to this story, you know, since we are coming down to the last days of the podcast. So we'll probably dedicate like an episode to one of these stories. These are interesting. This next one's called The Patient Zero by Tananarive Du. Right? Patient Zero. I mean, this is pretty cool looking. I like the way this looks. This picture looks amazing. In Patient Zero, our narrator is a little boy in the hospital. He's been in the hospital for a long time. In fact, he is not allowed to leave the hospital. And when people come to visit him, they must wear funny suits so they don't get sick. And as time goes on and he has fewer and fewer visitors, he starts to wonder what's going on outside. This is interesting too. This is interesting. So another one, the other story is called The Summer People by Kelly Link, and unfortunately the page is not loaded up. I really want to see the picture, but damn it. So at the start of the summer people, France's father leaves her home alone and dangerously ill to look after a group of beings called the Summer People. But these titular people don't seem to be the ordinary sort of guests who come to stay just for summer. And Fran soon realizes these strange beings may hold her only chance of getting better. Huh. That's interesting. Another one's called The Husband Stitch by Carmen Maria Machado. And you know, the picture is of a book called Her Body and Other Parties. In these formal brilliance and emotional charged tales, Machado gives literal shape to woman's memory and hunger and desire. I couldn't put it down. Karen Russell said that. So if you guys want to read more of Carmen Maria Machado's stories, the book is called Her Body and Other Parties. So, you know that old creepy story about the girl with green ribbon around her neck? Then read The Husband Stitch. It's the same story after a fashion, but from a woman's perspective. But it's also the gut-wrenching story of what it's like to have your anatomy threatened, especially if you happen to have a woman's body in a world controlled by men. Wow, that went really south really fast. We move along to Some Other Animals Meet by Emily Carroll. The book is called Through the Woods. You can probably tell from the title that Some Other Animal Meets is going to be a scary story, but Emily Carroll's illustration pairs it with an off-kilter tale about a lotion salesperson losing her grip on reality make for only true harrowing experience. Interesting. Another story is called To Kill a Dog by Samantha Schwiblin. First of all, really, To Kill a Dog, it reminds me of the story called To Kill a Mockingbird. We're not gonna get to that. The book is called Mouthful of Birds, stories by Samantha Schwiblin. I hope I am pronouncing that right, because if I am proud. I'm damn proud of myself. But if you're a big fan of dogs and cannot stand to see one harmed or threatened, even in the context of fictional short story, then To Kill a Dog may not be for you. Or maybe it is for you, because you'll find it that much more disturbing. Either way, the thought of beating a dog to death with a shovel is a job. Interview is decidedly unpleasant. Which it is, you know. I mean, I do have a dog, You know, her name is Evie, and it pains me to just picture her getting hit with the shovel. So I think I'm gonna stay away from that story. Samantha Schwiblin, you know, you have a really cool last name, but I don't think that story fits me. So we move on to The Other Place by Mary Gateskill. The book is called The Bad Behavior. The New York Times book review said, vital, gifted, each story leads on into the next, creating a new world. Gateskill is glorious. Mary Gateskill, author of Veronica. In classic Mary Gateskill fashion, the horror of The Other Place is primarily the horror of male violence. A little boy Douglas likes to play with guns, but his obsession goes far beyond simply shooting games. He likes seeing people get hurt. He likes seeing people die. And his father worries that he might not be alone in the secret fascination. Wow, I mean, you know, if you have kids, if you have little kids, little brothers, little sisters, you know, a daughter, a son that are way younger, you know, stay them away from guns, dude. Come on, man. I mean, oh, Jesus Christ. It just, I don't know. It saddens me seeing a little kid just shooting, right, with his, like, gun, like, with his finger guns. Pew, pew, pew. It's just not my type, you know. Come on. Have more, supervision over your kids, please. The other story is called Q Change by Chesia Burke. Okay, and the book is called Let's Play White. Zombies, a staple of the horror game genre, but in Chesia Burke's Q Change, zombies are not the mindless, shambling corpse you might be thinking of, nor are they rabid, infected monsters of more edgy zombie fiction. Rather, Burke's zombies are creepy and empathetic, and an entirely new take on The Walking Dead. Huh. That's interesting. I would actually want to read this one. Here we go too. The other one's called Agatha's Machine by Camilla Grudova. The book is called The Doll's Alphabet. A girl invites a classmate home to see her big, old sewing machine. Seems innocent enough, but the machine of Agatha's machine is no ordinary thing. Instead of mending clothes, it conjures images, strange dancing dolls that whirl around the room and disappear. And naturally, the more of the girls want to see these visions, the more their minds start to slip into madness. Wow. I mean, right? So something as innocent as a sewing machine can be very bad. You know, just the other day, I fixed my mom's sewing machine, and you know, reading this description, I go like, wait a minute. What if because of me fixing the sewing machine, you know, it comes to life? Dun dun dun. It's just very weird, very weird. But you know, we'll continue. This other story is called The Aspic by Tatiana Tolstaya. Oh God. The book doesn't have a title. I don't see no title in the book, but it has a lot of pictures. You know, it has an overhead view of what looks like somebody walking in snow, a meat cleaver, a pig's face, an elevator button going up, some stew, garlic, onions, and small little onions. This looks like a stove. I don't know what this is, but maybe just void. A clock, some stew, gelatin, the sky, and some smoking. So, Aspic is a savory jelly made from meat stock. That alone is horrifying enough, but Tatiana Tolstaya takes it to the next level by this gloomy, unsettling tale of hopelessness and meat prevention. It's a short read, but powerful enough to put you off pork and jelly for at least a week. Huh. I mean, I have nothing against vegans and stuff like that, vegetarian people, you know. you do you, and I do me. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about reading this book, this story. Another one's called "Who Will Greet You at Home" by Leslie Neka. Neka. It's like the double N. So I'm like, I guess it's like stretching out the N sound. Neka Arima. Okay, and the book is called "What It Means When a Man Falls from the Sky." Stories by Leslie Eka Arima. We all hopefully know how babies are made, but who will greet you at home propose a slightly different system than what we're accustomed to. In this world, babies are crafted out of yarn and mud and human hair. A lot of various materials can go into making a perfect baby, but at what cost to the mother? Wow. Interesting. Very interesting story. Huh. The other one's called "Choking Victim" by Alexandra Kleeman. The book is all lobsters, and it's called Intimacious by Alexandra Kleeman. Speaking of babies, "Choking Victims" is a short story all about the loneliness and boredom and bottomless terror that comes with being the stay-at-home mother of an infant. Even if you don't have a little helpless baby of your own, "Choking Victim" is still a decidedly creepy look at a responsibility and fear. Wow. I mean, stay-at-home moms, you guys are the best. You keep the house clean. You work hard, as equally as hard as any other person, because it's all responsibility. I mean, and maybe "Choking Victims" pretty much has that going for it. Like maybe this is why it's it. Okay, just read the story. Damn it, it's called "Choking Victims" by Alexandra Kleeman. You see, okay. This article goes long, dude. Now we go to another section, but this time it's by Christian Wilson. Okay, and it was updated 5 days ago. It's called 13 Spooky Horror Novels from Around the World. Huh. Fever Dream by Samantha Schwiblin, translated by Megan McDowell, Spanish and Argentina. Should we just skip the things? The other one's called "Valley of Terror" by Joel Hui, translated by Bonnie Huey, Mandarin, China. The other one's called "The Vegetarian" by Hong Kong, translated by Deborah Smith, Korean, South Korean. 10 best books of it. And you know what? Should we keep reading them? I mean, should we keep saying them? "Hadriana in All My Dreams" by Renée Despestre, translated by Camilla L. Glover, French, Haiti. "Amatka" by Kirin Tidbeck, translated by the author, Sweden. Wow, there's somebody actually called the author. Hey, that's a pretty cool name. "Such Small Hands" by Andres Barbara, translated by Lisa Dillman, Spanish, Spain. "I Remember You" by these names are really getting to me. But it's translated by Philip Rafton. But we'll leave it there. I mean, if you guys have any horror books that you guys want to read, read them. "The 20 Days of Turin," "The Graveyard Apartments." What the hell? Hold up, I gotta read the thing. This 1986 horror novel from Japan centers on a young couple who move into a new apartment only to find that some malevolent forces is making it more and more claustrophobic. Huh, look at that. "The Graveyard Apartment" by Mariko Koike, translated by Deborah Bolivar Boehm. Wow, this one's interesting. "The Graveyard Apartments." Yeah, I personally like living in apartments, second floor apartments. But, oof, I don't know how I would feel about graveyard apartments. You can buy it in Amazon for 17 bucks hardcover, but if you're more of a Kindle type, you can buy it for 13 bucks. I personally like having the books in my hands rather than, rather than buying it on a digital thing. So my preference would be just having it in my hands so I can actually see it and feel it with my hands. But nevertheless, that was Scary Stories. Okay, Scary Stories to Tell Campfires, which is pretty much urban legends that we have read before, but just translated differently. What else did we read? We read the top 10 suggested short stories written by women. Man, I mean, I like reading all types of stories, either written by women, men, extraterrestrial, and because it just adds flavor to it. Because you may be so used to, okay, let's put it out there, okay, you may be so used to reading a book by Dr. Seuss, but as soon as you pick up a book by Edgar Allan Poe, you go like, damn, son, really? And by the way, if you guys don't know, Edgar Allan Poe is one of my favorite all-time authors this world has to offer. Then in a close second comes Kafkaesque. But that's a story for another time. For right now, let's read one last story to finish it off. Okay, and we're gonna go back to the website called Scary for Kids, and we're gonna be continuing Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Albin Schwartz, I believe that was the guy's name. Oof. Ow, ow, ow. I think I poked something in my chin. But it goes. A long time ago, there was a house that stood on the bay near Mobile, Alabama, and was known as the Madison Mansion. And it has been vacant and boarded up for years. Many people in the area kept well away from it. It frightened it by uncanny reputation. Anyone who passed by couldn't help but wonder what evil had transpired in the old place. Trespassers were there to enter, and the old house usually fled during the night, telling stories so grisly that they were almost beyond belief. One night, 3 fishermen were caught in a quick-moving storm and managed to make their way back to shore. Drenched in the rain, they spotted the mansion and decided to take shelter in the rickety old place. Once inside, they made a fire in the fireplace to keep themselves warm and ate a cold supper Then, the 3 men pulled their oilskin coats tightly around them and lay down on the floor to try and get some sleep. However, as soon as they dozed off, they were plagued by terrible nightmares of treachery and murder. Lying awake, the men heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps up the stairs. It sounded like more than one person marching back and forth. "Who's there?" called the fisherman. The footsteps suddenly stopped. They heard a woman scream. The scream turned into a groan and died away. The house was quiet again. Just then, the man who had called out felt something splash against his forehead. Something was dripping from the ceiling, forming a small red puddle on the floor. To their horror, the fishermen realized it was blood. All of a sudden, the door upstairs crashed open, and the floor shook with the sound of heavy footsteps. It sounded like a woman was being chased by a man. The frightened fishermen heard disembodied voices in the darkness. A man shouted in anger. A woman cried in pain. They heard objects being flung here and there with a crash. Long howls of horrible laughter rose and filled the house. It went on and on until the fishermen thought they would go mad. Then there was silence. The fishermen huddled together and listened. After a few minutes, they heard something coming down the stairs. It sounded like someone dragging something heavy that bumped into each rotten step. The scraping and thumping noises came through the front of the hall and in front of the door. sounded like something was flung outside and landed with a thump among the weeds. Then the door slammed shut again, and there was silence. There was a thunderstorm outside, and the house trembled as if it was about to collapse. Rain was pounding against the sagging walls. The terrified fisherman couldn't bear to stay in the place a moment longer, and decided to flee. Just as they reached the door, a flash of lightning filled the room in the house with a green blaze, and one of the men saw a ghastly face staring at them from the stairs. It was so horrible that it looked as if they came from hell itself. A crash of thunder defeated and terrified men, and they ran out into the storm, never to return. Nobody ever knew for sure what terrible deeds had been done in that house. The mansion was built shortly after the American Revolution by an Englishman named Madison, who was a rich recluse. He lived there with his daughter, who was said to be mentally ill. Nobody ever saw her, and disturbance were kept well away from it. They never had any visitors and never came out. One day, without a word of warning, Madison suddenly left for England and wrote to his servants instructing them to sell the house. The daughter was never found. She just disappeared. After that, the house changed hands many times, but nobody could ever stay there for long. You know, we go from apartments to an old mansion. Tell me guys what you think. Would you guys stay long enough to find out what happened in that house? Or would you turn tail and just run away? I would like to know. With that being said, guys, this has concluded episode 7 or 22, however you would like to see it, of the After Dark podcast season 2. Thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so. The link is in the description below. You know, you can chat, you know, send me posts, pictures, memes, you know, anything you guys want. If you guys have any scary stories you guys want to share with me, any scary stories, horror stories, fables, folklore, urban legends, anything, you know, send to me with the hashtag TheAfterDarkPodcastS2 or hashtag TADPS2. Yeah. Once again, it's hashtag TheAfterDarkPodcastS2 or hashtag TADPS2. You know, that way I can find them easily and read them in the next podcast. You know, I'll give full credit to whoever sent them to me, and I would really appreciate it. You know, it'll give me more materials to read for tonight. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you can do so too. There's a link in the description below. You know, I am an artist. I am a digital artist and a traditional artist, and soon, you know, become a painter. I have mastered the painting techniques. I don't know what I'm getting at, but you know, sooner or later I will. You know, I post every Wednesday and Saturdays from 8 to 9 a.m. California time, but since it is October, I am partaking in the Inktober challenge, which is me drawing every day and posting every day. And well, you know, it's been 22 days so far, and I have not burned out. My flame is lit. You know, we are moving strong with this challenge because, you know, it's my first time doing this challenge, and I can tell that I have improved, you know, especially in drawing guys, because right now, not only have I already drawn a superhero that I want to work off from, I also drew a villain. So if you guys want to check them out, it's in my Instagram right now. Follow it. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you can do so. Like I said, every 50, like for example, right now I think we're at 230 followers, which you guys are amazing, by the way. But like every 50, like 250 followers, and like 300, 350, 400, and so on, I'll do a live stream of me drawing, and I'm gonna I don't know where I'm gonna get the strength from, but I'm gonna get the strength, sit down in a chair, and just complete the drawing, you know, whether it be digital or traditional. But you know, I want to put a kick to it too. You know, I'm gonna go into one of those generating sites where it'll tell me what to draw, and I'll post it. You know, I'll either live stream it on Instagram or on YouTube, because I don't know how long I can live stream on Instagram. So I think the best bet is on YouTube. So, you know, do do wait for that, I guess. But yes, if you guys like the content I create, please do subscribe on my YouTube channel. Like I said before, last dinosaur 681 is just my name, just my gamer name, or my gamer tag. I am gonna change it to something more quote unquote professional. So coming soon, I'm definitely gonna be having a lot more to take out. I'm gonna be making videos, and I'm gonna have pretty much my own thumbnails. So and yeah, so if you guys do want to support your boy, please do follow me. I would really appreciate it so much. You have no idea. Okay, so moving on with the movie recommendation for tonight. Oh, this is a tough one. This is a very tough one. What can we do? What can I offer you guys to watch tonight? What about my Bloody Valentine? Like the old one. I guess you can get away with the new one. The new one's alright, right? Let me see. Hold up. My Bloody Valentine. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's a good slasher movie. I like it. Let me see. Let's go to the wiki. Yeah. So yeah, go watch the My Bloody Valentine 3D. It's a 2009 American slasher film directed by Patrick Lussier, and directed by Patrick Lussier, produced by Jack L. Murray, screenplay by Zane Smith, Todd Farmer, John Braid. That was the 1981 movie. The story is by Stephen Miller. So that's that. It runs for about 101 minutes, and it was released on January 16, 2009. So if you guys gonna go watch My Bloody Valentine, do so. Right now it's not Valentine, but it still has some aesthetics to horror movies. So to not horror movies, like slasher movies. So yeah, that's pretty good. I like this movie. So thank you guys for watching or hearing. If you guys were in the live stream, thank you so much. If you guys are watching this in the YouTube playback, I really do appreciate it. But please, like I said, please, very pleased with the cherry on top, do subscribe. And on that note, make sure to always bring a flashlight. Never walk alone on an empty street. And always, I mean always, double check your surroundings, because you may never know who or what can be lurking in the dark. Thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. Peace out, everybody, and have a great night and a safe one too.